뭐야?
네가 꽂힌 거 하나 봐. 너한테 벌이 앉았어.
다 움직였어.
Squid Game made Netflix nearly $900 million. It became the most watched series in streaming history, over 1.65 billion hours viewed. But the creator, he got paid less than a Netflix intern. No royalties, no bonuses, nothing. The lead actor made just $24,000 per episode. Meanwhile, Netflix executives were cashing million-dollar stock options off the show's success. This is the true financial story behind Squid Game, and it's more brutal than the show itself.
한 번만, 제발 한 번만 더.
When Squid Game hit Netflix on September 17th, 2021, even Netflix didn't know what it had. 17 days later, over 111 million households had tuned in. By week 4, 1.65 billion hours watched, the biggest series debut in Netflix history. It was trending in 94 countries, spawning TikToks, memes, Halloween costumes, even a few sketchy crypto scams. But the guy who created Squid Game, the one who wrote it, directed it, poured 10 years of his life into it, he didn't get a bonus, he didn't get royalties, he didn't even own the rights to his own story. Meanwhile, Netflix had just discovered one of the most valuable shows it had ever released. So how does the biggest show on earth leave its creator with nothing but stress and regret? And how did Netflix turn it into a near billion-dollar win? In this video, we're breaking down how much Squid Game really made, who actually got rich, and why season 2 might look very different. Let's follow the money. So how does a show with no ads, no merch, no spin-offs, make nearly $1 billion for Netflix? The answer? It's not about what they sell, it's about what they lock in. Netflix doesn't monetize views like YouTube. It doesn't upsell premium access like Hulu. It monetizes attention through subscriptions. And Squid Game wasn't just a hit, it was a subscription superweapon. Let's break down how it made money. First, new subscribers. In the quarter after release, Netflix added 4.38 million new users. That's more than the population of Jamaica. Assuming $10 to $15 per user per month, that's $130 million or more in new annual revenue from just one show. Second, reduced churn. People didn't cancel. Even those planning to leave stayed subscribed just to see what Squid Game was about. That retention effect? It added tens of millions more in preserved revenue. Third, share price bump. Netflix stock jumped about 3% in the weeks after launch, a small percentage. But on a company that size, that bump added billions to Netflix's market cap. Wall Street got the message. Netflix still owned the cultural moment. Fourth, global brand power. Squid Game was subtitled in 31 languages, dubbed in 13. It proved Netflix wasn't just a Hollywood machine, it was the home of global storytelling. That brand shift, it helped Netflix push into new markets and justify price hikes around the world. So what's the bottom line? Netflix valued the total business impact of Squid Game at $891.1 million. That includes lifetime revenue from new subscribers, improved retention, brand equity, and investor confidence. All from a show that cost just $21.4 million to make. That's a 4,100% return on investment, roughly $42 of value for every dollar spent. And here's the kicker, Netflix didn't need to sell t-shirts, didn't license toys, didn't run ads. The show was the product, and while Netflix walked away with nearly $1 billion in value, the creator, who wrote and directed every single episode, he didn't even get a profit share. That's the cost of winning in a game you don't own.
Next, what does it take to create a hit TV drama? Only 8 or 9 of your teeth? At least that's what happened to Squid Game creator Dong Yo-kwang, who told BBC his teeth fell out from stress.
Hwang Dong-hyuk spent 10 years trying to make Squid Game. He pitched it over and over again to every major Korean studio. They all said the same thing, too violent, too unrealistic. No one wants this. Meanwhile, his own life was unraveling. He was broke, in debt. At one point, he sold his laptop just to buy food. And when the show finally went into production, he lost 6 teeth from stress during filming. Some reports say it was 8. This wasn't just a project, it was his life's work, his gamble, his story. Then, Netflix finally said yes, but the deal? A flat fee, somewhere between $650,000 and $1 million to write, direct, and produce the entire first season. All 9 episodes, every game, every twist, every line of dialogue, that was it. No royalties, no back-end points, no IP ownership. Netflix owns everything. The Squid Game brand, the merchandise, the spin-offs, the upcoming reality competition, even the potential theme park rides. Why? Because Hwang signed a work-for-hire deal, common in global streaming, especially for international creators. Once he took the check, the rights were gone. And while Netflix was calculating an $891 million return on a $21 million investment, the man who imagined it all, who created the most watched show in Netflix history, was paid less than the fictional Squid Game winner. That character won 45.6 billion won, roughly $38 million. Hwang made 1/38 of that for the real game and the real pain. And if you think the creator had it rough, wait until you hear what the actors got paid. Lee Jung-jae, a South Korean icon, the face of Squid Game. His character, Gi-hun, was in every episode, carried the entire story, won an Emmy, and practically became the show. So, what was his paycheck? Reports say he made around $250,000 total for the season. Not per episode, for the entire thing. That's less than what some US TV stars make in a single week. And it gets worse. Park Hae-soo, who played Sang-woo, earned an estimated $36,000 per episode. Jung Ho-yeon, the breakout star who played Sae-byeok, was a fashion model before this. Squid Game launched her into superstardom. She was everywhere. Red carpets, Vogue covers, global brand deals. But during filming, some reports say she made as little as $7,000 per episode. Not per hour, not per day, per episode. For the most viral show on earth, even veteran actors like Oh Young-soo, who played the old man, were reportedly paid around $70,000 an episode. And remember, no residuals, no back-end, no bonuses, just a flat acting fee. Meanwhile, Netflix execs were celebrating in earnings calls. The company's valuation soared. And the cast, they didn't even get raises until season 2 was confirmed, months later. It's not that they weren't valuable. It's that they didn't own any part of what they helped create. The costumes, the memes, the Halloween outfits, the crypto scams, the YouTube parodies, all driven by the cast's performances. Yet, while Squid Game made nearly $1 billion, the people who brought it to life were nowhere near the winner's circle. So if the creator didn't get rich, and the cast didn't get rich, where did all the money go? Follow the ladder, all the way up. Netflix. They didn't just stream Squid Game, they owned it. All of it. The IP, the licensing, the global distribution rights, every character, every costume, every spin-off, and they wasted no time turning it into an empire. First came the Squid Game, reality show, then the mobile games, then the merch drops, brand collabs, licensing deals, all flowing into Netflix's ecosystem. They used Squid Game to boost global expansion, justify price hikes, sell more Korean content, and keep subscribers glued. And in the background, an almost invisible jackpot. Because when a Netflix show performs like that, executives cash in hard. Performance-based bonuses, stock options that explode in value, millions in comp for just picking the right bet. They never acted a scene, never wrote a line, never stepped foot on set, but they walked away with the biggest payday. Season 1 was a cultural revolution, but financially, it was a corporate landslide for Netflix. The creators, they got fame, trophies, and a fraction of the fortune. The backlash was loud. So when Netflix came knocking for season 2, they had no choice but to pay up. They increased the budget. secured a long-term development deal with Hwang Dong-hyuk, and gave their leading man, Lee Jung-jae, a record-breaking raise, reportedly over $1 million per episode. That's the kind of pay that rewrites careers. For Lee, it did more than that. His Emmy win cracked open Hollywood's doors, and Squid Game became his global launchpad. He landed a lead role in Star Wars, The Acolyte. He's now making millions per project, not just in Korea, but on the world stage. And Hwang, he went from being ignored by every studio in Seoul to becoming one of Netflix's most valuable creators. But even now, neither of them owns a single piece of Squid Game. The characters, the brand, the franchise, it's all still locked under Netflix IP. There's no syndication, no back-end cut, no royalties if it runs for 20 more seasons. But here's the twist. Season 1 didn't make them rich. It made them powerful. Power to choose, power to negotiate, power to never go into debt for a dream again. They didn't profit from season 1, but it made them powerful enough to own their future. Want more stories like this? Subscribe or drop a comment below. What would you do if your creation made $900 million for someone else?